Dean, bass and vocals.
Adam, drums.
And Matt, guitar and a little bit of backing vocals.
Guys, and you are from the band Age of Emergence. Thanks for joining us this evening or this morning or today.
Hello.
Yeah.
So Age of Emergence recently released your new EP, The All Seeing Eye Part 1. So I know it hasn't been out that long, but how's the early response been?
Yeah, we haven't had a massive amount of reviews, but yeah, no one's said anything negative so far. So yeah, it's been pretty positive. Like most people seem to think it's better or just as good as stuff we've done previously. So that's a positive thing, I guess.
People like the video clip we've done as well. So that's also good to know that the efforts at least being, I don't know, it's the efforts being appreciated that we've put in. So that's always a good thing, I suppose.
The sound's an improvement for what we're chasing.
Yeah, we use more of the sort of, I guess, the current modern recording methods with this, you know, all the plugins and stuff like that, I guess, which probably, yeah, I can see why all the bands are using it now. It's amazing. It's like night and day sort of thing compared to trying to get good sounds out of amps and stuff like we used to spend hours trying to dial in a guitar tone or something and then realizing it still needs work or something and spending all that studio sort of time. You could just press a button, I want Gojira tone or something, and bang, there it is, sort of thing. And
amazing, isn't it?
The time-consuming part's obviously doing the drum recording, but that's there's not really much you can do about that because a lot of the MIDI plugins for drums just aren't up to standard as what a real drum kit is. So at least these guys can get their instruments done quickly, and if it takes me a little bit of extra time with setup, tone chasing, and whatever, at least I know it's my authentic sound. So
yeah. True. So tell us a bit more about the EP from a musical point of view, you guys, and what you were going for with it.
Oh, I guess it's more of a conscious effort to try and because we've obviously been trying to create our own unique sort of sound. Like, it's not unique, not reinventing the wheel or anything, but we've always tried to. I've had a sort of sound, I guess, that I've been going for a long time, and I think this time obviously a lot of people had a lot of time to sit at home and think about stuff during all the pandemic lockdowns and stuff like that. And that's when I started to really I guess, write in a more sort of pedantic sort of way, and rewrite a lot of stuff that I probably previously wouldn't have. I didn't rewrite some of the stuff on the last EP so much. And me and Matt sort of just tweaked ideas a bit more and just try and make it, perfect as far as what we're going for. Not perfect as in actually perfect, but perfect as in getting close. We still haven't really got exactly what we're going for. I think we're getting closer each sort of group of songs we're doing now. I think to the overall sound I really want to get to. I guess the end of the road or whatever it is. And
yeah, very cool. Now the All Seeing Eye's only got 4 tracks on it, guys. So I want to run through each of them individually and tell us a bit more about the song and what it's about. So we'll start with the All Seeing Eye.
Yep.
Title's kind of self-explanatory, really.
Do you mean the lyrically or just?
Just about the musical composition of it, lyrically. Yeah, just give us a bit of a rundown on the song itself and where it fits, I suppose, with the EP.
It was written on the acoustic, actually. Dean's a guitarist originally. He's been playing a lot. Yeah,
I write a lot of songs on guitar, and then me and Matt sort of combine our guitar ideas, and then I sort of write bass lines. After that sometimes I write a song on bass first, but it's usually starts with an acoustic guitar and then it goes to electric guitars and then the bass and drums come in, I guess. But this one's definitely more of a, I guess, more 70s inspired. I'm a big fan of, obviously Zeppelin, Sabbath, Deep Purple, Pink Floyd and all that sort of stuff. So I guess it's a tribute to those type of bands in a way. It's like our version of poor man's version of Stairway to Heaven or something. I guess that's what sort of going for, maybe. I don't know.
It's songs were largely written by, largely written before I even started putting drums to them. So I followed their structure and I just added in the background stuff and applied my style to what they were doing. And well, obviously they liked it. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be sitting here. So.
We
True.
always squeeze in a heavy influence in most of the songs, but we still love all the campfire acoustic influence as well. But so we're just trying to combine what we enjoy ourselves. And that's hopefully,
I think you nailed it with a review there. Overall, I guess we're basically a hard rock band essentially with metal with a metal influence, I guess. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to the second track, Futility.
That's probably my favourite one to play live because it was something that, like, we had ideas for ages ago and nearly gave up on it, but then we just Dean and I stuffed around with it in his shed once and said, yeah, actually, we'll add a couple more riffs to it and just, we've had ideas for ages, and that one's just it seems to flow better now. So we thought, we'll definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely something we hope we try and get people headbanging a bit more, just try and make it a bit more sort of upbeat, faster paced, and a bit more crowd pleasing style, I guess, for that sort of thing is what we're going for, like a straight ahead sort of more banger style. And some of our previous songs were all sort of 6 minutes, I guess. So we did consciously write a few shorter songs this time on this one or whatever.
And with that as well, like I tried a few different sort of things at the start of that, and I couldn't get anything to work. And I'm just like, well, why don't I just try a poor man's blast beat? And then I just gave that a crack and put that on it. It seemed to work, and I'm still working on getting it so there's actually volume and projection behind it when I'm playing it live. But as it's recorded, it's kind of like, okay, well, there's at least you can hear that heavy element coming in there. I'm no George Colias. I can't blast at 250 to 300 BPM. No, I'm nowhere near that good, but it's like I'm at least you can hear the heaviness behind it, just with the intent of what's being played more than anything else.
Yeah, we love our system of the down too. So kind of when we first heard it, it's like, you can hear the influence from that too, I guess.
Yeah, very
cool.
I think influence from this bloke.
I think when writing it too, I remember saying to Matt, I really wanted a song that we haven't done a song that's got like more of a tapping sort of high riff sort of intro either. Yeah. A lot of our songs just start on the the low D or lower down, heavier sort of register. This is like conscious effort to try and have that sort of those cool sort of, a lot of bands have those cool intros with a high register sort of note, like cool little parts coming in. Then the band comes in with a heavy riff sort of thing, and I guess we're trying to emulate that a bit with this sort of thing too, I guess.
Very cool. Okay, then you've got Gods Can't Allow.
Yeah, that's one with the film clip. People's, like, a lot of people that have listened to the EP, even friends that live interstate, whatever, it's good to hear the honesty, and they reckon that's one of the songs that flows the best. I've just had people say that, and it's another song. We finished the set list live too, because it's just it's got love playing. That's why we did a film clip for it, I guess. It was just
and because we did the film clip for it, we probably played it the most. It's the tightest one as well. So we finished off the set on a real tight.
It's obviously based around that intro riff is a big part of the vibe too. Like, it's just kicking off with straight into that riff at the start, and then
bass groove,
and then introducing the bridge riff, and then going into the verse, I guess. And it's another attempt to write a shorter song as well, and sort of make our ideas more concise and relatable. Try and build our fan base a bit more, sort of thing. And
the outro is really fun to play. That was Adams loves it, and he said we should finish with that song. Yeah, good idea, because it was hard work, like structuring the outro. We're trying to go for something.
It's that Middle Eastern sort of vibe on that guitar riff that I kind of like. Yeah. I was like, that's sick. I like that.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of, because I'm obviously a big Dream Theater fan. I heard like the sort of prog influences in that. There's like some Mastodon in there as well. Yeah, a bit of Mastodon, a bit of Gojira, a bit of Opeth, sort of floating around in there. Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, obviously because it flows. It's structurally, it makes a lot of sense. People understand it when you do it sort of that way. Like, there's a lot of prog stuff that you hear that a lot of people are like, well, I have no idea what that is, so I'm gonna just push that off to the side. But with this one, it's kind of like, okay, well they kind of get it because it's structured properly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we used to be a bit disjointed with
Yeah.
all the songs that went for ages, and people even said that's cool, but we need to make them flow more. And I think we're doing that, like, and we enjoy doing that. So
Yeah, that's that is one of the criticisms we've had with our earlier stuff, is like that people want it to sort of flow more and be more cohesive, I guess. That's what we've constantly tried to do that for sure with this sort of stuff.
Sweet. And the EP finishes with Mind Game.
Yeah, this is more of our old sort of stuff, but we're still trying to make it concise. But you can see in Mind Game, that's more the sort of, I guess, the structures we used to do is like bit crazier, like sort of structure wise, and just the type of riffs we throw together for that sort of stuff. But
yeah, we wrote it. I actually wrote a lot of the guitar for this one, but we scrapped it for a while because we were searching for the verse, and we come up with that
the chorus.
3/4 timing in the
we spent a lot of time working on Mind Game, like rewriting parts and changing. We had a different chorus for a while, and I came up with a chorus riff one day. It was just I wanted something to groove a bit more for the chorus, because the chorus was flat how we originally wrote it. I think we sort of we got the groove in there a bit more, which is what we're sort of going for with all this whole EP, really, just try and make it bounce a bit more and overall, so people can bang their head more.
A bit more groove centric.
Yeah.
The verse, Adam. There's another. The verse, Adam actually loved it. What time is it? 3, 4, or something?
It's either 3 or 6, but you can put it as you can put
it
it.
was all over it, so he said, "Yeah, we definitely need to record that one."
You can put it as 3/4, but it can also be written as 6/8, and it still makes sense. Because it's kind of got that waltz feel. That
but it's fun playing. Like for a verse, it's just different for us.
out of the 3 of us, I'm the one who probably understands the time signature stuff a little bit better. They just throw something at me, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can work that out. That's 7 or whatever, and then play it. Whereas they kind of a lot of the time don't know what they're doing. But I think there's more intelligence in not knowing what you're doing and just doing it by instinctive feel than mapping it out and then making it feel disjointed. Like you listen to a lot of the more modern prog stuff, even by bands like Tesseract, it kind of it feels too intelligent in a way. It's like these guys have meticulously mapped this stuff out, and it loses that groove in some places.
Yeah.
But with these guys, it's like it's just a natural thing, and all I've got to do is just try and lock that in and make it feel right for people. Which I'm enjoying doing that anyway. So
very cool. Now, the part 1 in the title suggests that this EP is just the first chapter. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're definitely intending to do part 2. Yeah, we've got some new stuff written, but we want to write some brand new ideas to chuck in there as well. I think just sort of as long as we've got some. We were going to record an album, it was mainly just the cost that we ended up doing. We decided to split it into 2 parts just so we can stagger it a bit and sort of make it viable. We'll try to make it viable, I guess.
So there'll be another 4 songs probably coming, which will make you full-length album, and then you can kind of put the 2 things together to have it as an album.
But hopefully the themes will tie together. But some of the stuff written sort of ties in pretty well. But there's a few concepts I want to try and bring in there to, I guess, bring a more positive vibe to close it out with, to some extent too, instead of just being all Big Brother's trying to kill you and all this sort of stuff. And
you can't have all doom and gloom.
That's right. Being all doom, just saying there is hope for the future, that the system itself is collapsing under its own weight.
Yeah. Well, is there a time frame on that? Was that this year maybe, or probably next?
Probably next year.
Yeah, probably say more realistically next year. Yeah.
Because after we finish up the tour, we'll probably start actually jamming the songs and working out what we're doing for each one. And then once they're ready, we'll then plan a time frame for when we're going to record and release the next part, and then probably do more touring after that.
Oh.
We've still got some old songs we want to bring out too that Adam hasn't really learned yet. Got some of our old songs with our first drummer that we still enjoy playing. And
yeah, I've got to go back through the catalogue and brush up on what's needed. It's like I can see why with a lot of bands that have changed drummers, like Slipknot recently and Dream Theater going back with Portnoy and all that sort of stuff. It's like you've still got those songs that have been written and recorded with someone else that you still need to be able to play. it's for me finding time to go and listen to. Okay, we want to be doing these 4 songs. We need to get you to learn those ones. It's just they've got to give me a list, and I've then got to go through and work out how to do them.
Yeah, very cool. Now, you mentioned tour before, guys. Like, you're currently about halfway through a tour to promote the EP, which started on April 18th in Newcastle. So, how have the shows been going?
Yeah, not so bad.
We're getting some good feedback from the crowds.
Port Macquarie was awesome.
Yeah, Port Mac was probably the biggest crowd we've done so far. Like, there's a great metal scene up there. Like, those guys up there are lovely. So, big shout out to James Schaefer, who was the host for that gig, in conjunction with the Metal United Down Under team. So that show was so well organised, well advertised, good crowd, good venue. And the other shows we've had, like the one last night in Melbourne, we had a decent crowd last night. There was
good vibe.
Considering that it was cold and wet, it's like, but Melbourne, I think, is one of the places in Australia that have, like, you can walk 4 or 5 blocks and find another venue that's putting on music. Like, you've got to compete with everything else that's going on. But it's like people still are, they might like a certain venue and they'll go there to see what's there. So you get like the loyals of venues, and it's obviously just you're trying to make sure that you're giving them a show that they're happy with, so they then don't go and find somewhere else. Canberra was all right. The crowd was mostly there for the first 2 bands. They stuck around and checked out us and us and Taliesin, and big shout out to the Taliesin boys. Those guys are unreal. Like, but yeah,
Wollongong the night before had a healthier crowd there. I mean, that was.
Well, Wollongong's also like it's one of those places, sort of like Newcastle, that only has 1 or 2 venues where you can go to see live music.
Yeah.
The other one being Dicey Riley's, and they usually put on a lot of cover bands. But yeah, it's like the people in these sort of like regional centres, they want to be able to go out and see live music. It's just bringing it to them is sort of like the logistical problem. I know Alpha Wolf are one of the biggest bands currently in the country, and they're playing places like Tamworth. And it's like, okay, well, they're going at least play in the regional centres and bringing heavy music to people all over the country, to places that want to actually hear it. So, you know, it's like we like coming outside Newcastle because it's like you get to introduce other people to our music, and also kind of bring music to people who may not have otherwise.
It's good meeting other musos too, and just learn off everyone as well.
Oh yeah,
I enjoy it.
Hanging out with the Carbon Black boys was sick.
Yeah, and there is a cool vibe at that Mr. Boogeyman bar last night. It's held together with band posters and
duct tape.
Photos.
Awesome.
That's it. Music. Yeah, it was cool.
It's like not what I was saying last night. It's made like the Junkyard up in Newcastle. Yeah. Like the Junkyard's one of those venues up there that's held together the same way. They've got posters of bands and stuff from
nearly every gig that's happened there. They just
and they've just spattered them all over the walls, and you can feel the history when you walk in there. Same with the Wickham Park Hotel, same with the Stag and Hunter, and it used to be the same with the Cambridge. Like you'd walk into the Cambridge in Newcastle and you could feel the history of all the bands that had played there, from Silverchair all the way through to all the heavier stuff that's come through town. And it's sort of disappointed for us being from Newcastle, seeing some of those Newcastle venues sort of shuttering up, and it's like, but it's when we travel around, we see that that's happening everywhere anyway. Yeah, it's like it's not just us; it's everywhere, which is a shame because music's the heartbeat of this country and has been for a long time, at least since the late '60s, early '70s when AC/DC and stuff were coming up. Like everyone wanted to go out and see a good driving hard rock band.
Yeah, it's getting harder these days, isn't it?
Yeah, now a lot of people don't even want to leave their home because they can get it all on Spotify.
Cost of living to going out and spending $10 on a scooter, a lot of people, that'll probably keep people at home as well. So
I guess there's a lot of these shows we're doing this time we were actually supposed to do back in, like we were supposed to come to Melbourne in 2020, like April 2020 sort of thing. So it's taken us 4 years so that's still only our first show in Melbourne last night.
Yeah, right.
Even though we've been a band for what
2015.
nearly 10 years, 8, 9 years or something. This is the first time we've actually got our ship together to actually get to Melbourne, get to Brisbane, and so you can't expect to be 1,000 people there, obviously. So
It'd be nice, but you can't expect it.
It's us slowly working our way up and just.
We're trying to work out what sort of places dig us and what sort of places don't. And obviously, I think we'll target the places in the future where we're getting the best response. I suppose it's the most sensible thing to do.
We'll definitely go back to Port Macquarie. Like we're playing Lismore 2 weeks, I think, isn't it? 1st of June.
Yeah, Lismore there. Lismore will be cool. For sure.
So yeah, Lismore's one of those again. It's one of those.
In Brisbane, we got Brisbane and Bundaberg will be cool.
I just want to say that actually, like that the tour does continue tonight, May the 18th in Geelong, before hitting Lismore on June the 1st. You got Sydney on June the 15th.
Oh,
You got Brisbane June the 29th. Hey?
Yeah.
The mosh pit bar is going to be real good. I think that'll be a decent crowd for that one.
Yeah, as a mosh pit bar, we made a sort of conscious effort to just make it a sort of all prog night. Because we haven't seen many prog nights lately. Obviously, there's the black metal, death metal scene, the sludge doom scene is just going crazy at the moment. It's just
and metal
sort of thing. And so we're sort of on the
or deathcore
periphery, I guess, of all that sort of stuff.
Bring it back.
Die Art style bands. You get a lot of bands like Die Art is Murder around, as well as Parkway Drive, but you don't get to see a lot of a lot of actual prog. Like if you want to see prog, you've got to either come to Melbourne or go to Brisbane, because Melbourne, there's 2 bands from Melbourne that are real good, which is Terra Maze and Navel of Scaris, which are both on the opposite ends of like the sort of prog spectrum. Nao's more like Opeth, whereas Terra Maze is probably more like Dream Theater, Queensryche, Beats Warning, that sort of style. And then you got Caligula's Horse, which is sort of like just a heavier version of Pink Floyd almost.
Yeah, but we still, like I noticed even last night with bands we haven't played with before, they're definitely tuning a lot lower and they're a bit more modern prog, where we're still always going to have that old Sabbath influence as well. And people still dig it. I had a few young fellas last night that are more into the metalcore just come up and say, yeah, I still really like some of that old school stuff you chuck in. It's always going to be there. I mean, that's just...
And a lot of bands are using backing tracks nowadays as well, and we haven't quite developed.
Well, we're always a shed band, learning how to. We always were. We used to jam in a previous drummer that had to retire from us in his shed, and that's just how we've always known, like cranking everything up. But you just learn off other people how to chase that sound you're after for the style. We're always going to have certain sections.
We definitely been getting a lot of cool ideas already from a couple of the prog bands we're playing with, as things we should be doing with our sound that we're obviously going to incorporate in the future before we sort of record again and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just like whether the sort of setups they're using and what gets the sound that they can see that we're going for, but we're not quite sort of getting in some respects live or whatever. And
our tuning with the guitar suits Dean's voice is always done, that way. So I don't think that'll change.
It's also the other I think as well with the last recording session. It's like a lot of bands are recording a different way to the ways of a lot of people were used to way back when. Like a lot of studios are moving away from the live jam aspect, because it means if you need to correct something, it's very difficult to be able to do that when you've recorded it live, because you shift one thing to try and move it into time. Everything else is then that half a beat out or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like learning to record to a click and learning to do post-production or pre-production where they're recording the guitar and the bass to a click. I go in with the drums and I play with their tracks that are to a click, so that way when they take the guitar and the bass out, the click's still there, the drum's still there, and then you can line everything up so it's perfect.
But you still got to have the live. You still
we're not. I don't want to use a click track personally.
I don't blame you.
For me, my drums are trying to make sure at least the double kicks are in time. I'd like to be playing.
Oh, that's for the future. If we want to, if something happens, we don't. Someone might move away for work. You can still send each other music. That's why people do it.
Yeah,
but for us, we still want to have that live aspect where you can rock up play your songs with your eyes shut because you still need to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've got,
that's what it's
and I've got
about
no
for
issue
me.
doing it either way either.
Yeah.
It's like if we're gonna jam it out, we may as well do it right.
Yeah,
But it's
and we
like
still do that. But, yeah,
it's just
but
obviously
chasing that
for
sound that you see bands that
Yeah.
you're really into. It's like, yeah,
for the recording side, it's more like I wouldn't want to play live to a click track because I think that'd just detract from the live vibe. But if I'm recording something to a click, it's at least okay. Well, it's easy for the engineer. It means that if we need to drop in, drop out for a part, you can because you've got the click there. You just go okay, bang, straight there. Even with guitar bass, like you can just go okay. Well, this is the solo. We'll just drop you straight in where the solo is. Give you a 4 count, drop you in, record the solo.
But
Okay, next.
in reality, though, when we recorded this EP, the studio engineer was sort of skeptical that we could sort of pull it off, sort of thing. And he thought it'd be heaps of hard work, and it just all went really smoothly
And we did it anyway.
without the click track. And he said we were like, was it? Well, the amount we're off, you can't tell basically if we are out of time. Yeah.
And I think that's down to how tight these guys are with each other, as well as just how much I practice, because I do practice on my own to a click. Just I don't like playing to one because it's like I then feel like my playing. I feel like tempo changes live, but it's also like I feel more rigid in what I have to do at that point. Like if I want to try like fancy fill and I want to go slightly off a slight different meter or modulate the fill a little bit, the click kind of throws me out because I've not really practiced doing that sort of stuff. But it's like I can do it, I just can't do it to a click. So like I practice like rudiments and just being able to play generally in time with myself. That way when I go and play on stage, I'm like, at least I know I'm in time with myself, and these guys can then lock in and feel comfortable that it's at least going to sound locked in. And that's what you want. You don't want it sounding like one guy's like out or whatever. And if you start playing live to click tracks, you can kind of get that. Someone might be very good at doing it, someone may not be, and then it just throws you out too much.
Very good. Rightio, guys. Well, thanks very much for your time today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. The EP, the All Seeing Eye Part 1 is out now. You guys have got a show in Geelong tonight. You got Lisbon, Sydney, Brisbane and Bundaberg coming up. So if you live in any of those towns, go and support the boys.
Thanks for your support. Thanks very much for chatting to us.